Here we're taking a look at the overall landscape of Sage Field operations with our 100 contractor solution. Down here in the bottom left, we have our on-premise installed back in the office, your 100 contractor, used to do your billings, payroll, and overall accounting functions with your team, helping you keep track of what's going on with your job and project. Harnessing the power of the cloud or the internet, Sage Field Operations is able to read and write project-related information directly from the field. That means as your costs are being accumulated back in the office, your entries out in the field are also accumulating back as well. Since it's all reading and writing directly back from your 100 contractor database, everything is reading live and writing live directly back to your office. Not only can your field employees take advantage of processing daily field reports, submitting time entries, or other types of project-related work, but now your office team is able to keep track of all of that employee-based information directly from a scheduler or back in the dispatch board, reviewing the field employees' time entered and overall increased visibility into that project that they may not have now. Sage Field Operations is compatible with Android and iOS devices, allowing you to access the solution from any device with an internet connection, and of course, from back in the office. I'll be highlighting a few different features throughout today's presentation to showcase advantages for both your field and office employees. Sage Field Operations itself is a browser-based solution with responsive design. Today we'll be operating mainly from my laptop, much like how an office user would be accessing the solution. I'll be taking a few moments during the presentation to emulate what it would look like for your users out on the field using a tablet or phone. The solution is smart enough to contour the page to the screen real estate available depending upon how you access the site. You can see here that when accessing it from a tablet or iPad, the site will look familiar to how we're accessing it from a computer today. If you're accessing the solution from a phone, the responsive design changes the site to be efficiently accessed using scrolling or touch-enabled interface, much like the buttons options we see over here on the right. Time can be added to a job for larger projects based upon the permissions granted by the admin. We'll be taking a look at a few different options today in terms of how we'd like to track time for your project, specifically punch actions to an assignment or overall standard time entry. That way we can have the options for clocking in and clocking out of lunches or work, as well as entering in X amount of hours for a specific employee or crew. As you can see, individual or crew time entry is supported depending upon if you're using construction or work orders, if you're service oriented, just giving you that flexibility for the user out in the field so you could have a one-to-many in time tracking or a one-to-one. Now, in terms of what we offer for Sage Field Operations in regards to project or job related tasks, out in the field, we'll be able to, schedule or dispatch work, building out, specific work for crews, so we can specify based upon individual schedules what cost codes or phases they'll be working on throughout a given day, or simply having that individual clock in their time on their own and giving them the power to track their own schedule, as well as the two options we'll be taking a look at today with time entry in regards to punches, as well as overall time entry. We'll also touch upon momentarily purchase orders, change orders, and daily field reports, all pulling directly from a 100 contractor, as well as writing back. RFPs, RFIs, and several different options in terms of photos, sketches, and capturing electronic signatures for forms. And with that brief introduction, let's jump on over into Sage Field Operations. So here I'm logged into my Sage Field Operations and logged in as my admin user. When I tend to show the solution, I assume a few different roles so that you in the audience, as well as you can call back to your users in your company, who would facilitate what role and what it would look like for them and the workflow that I'm going through today. Just keep in mind, though, that when I'm logged in today, I am logged in as the admin user. So I'm going to see everything that the Sage Field Operations admin back in the office would see, but not necessarily everything you would give to the field employee or superintendent or foreman that's doing tasks from the field. You would dial back those permissions just simply through security rights within Sage Field Operations. So just keep that in mind as we're maneuvering out all throughout the different features for today. So assuming my Sage Field Operations admin or say project manager back in the office, I'll have the login maybe set to my dispatch board here. Now, although you may not dispatch work for your project related tasks or jobs, this is a great way for you to view what's currently going on out in the field. This scheduler is dynamic and live. That means as time is being entered out in the field or as tasks are being punched in and punched out of, these colors will change. Um, uh, Assignments that are in white will show as open, tasks that are being worked on in green, suspended time in red, completed tasks in gray. And as I'm punching in and out of actions or entering in time throughout today, I'll be jumping back to the scheduler to show you that effect live. Now here you'll see some color codings right off of the bat for my different assignments or time. These colors can signify different things to your company, whether it's priority of a task, low, medium, urgent, or um, you know, unassigned. You can also reassign the colors to mean different trades or groups. It's really up to you on how you want to customize and use these options within the scheduler. You can see all of my employees. However, if I have hundreds of employees, I can set up different dispatch groups to specify maybe different crews, maybe a West Side crew, as well as maybe different trades. So I can easily click on different groups within here to specify who's available for what work and also the employees who belong to those groups. We have several different time options over here on my right-hand side, depending upon how I want to view today's schedule. Right now, we're currently taking a look at the week-long view, but we also have the day view to break down what's going on all throughout today. The next 2 weeks to take a look at future or past, and as far out or as far before as a month. We also have an alt day option that allows us to take a look at more of a Microsoft Outlook kind of view. You can easily drag and drop different assignments to reassign or move open items, and that immediately updates Jim's schedule as well as Oscar's schedule from this example. Since these are all open, I can also easily extend these to show that the time has been extended for that specific assignment, as well as move that around to overlap with other individual schedules as well, giving me that easy click and drag and drop feature that I may not currently have now with my job or project related work. Over here on my left-hand side, you'll see what looks like to be a job and my job lookup. Since Sage Field Operations is integrated directly back to my 100 contractor database, all of this information is live. That means my job list, my job codes, phases, all of this information is reading directly from 100 contractor. So as I'm doing work and updating costs or posting information back in the office, out in the field, I can quickly and easily see this information as it's being updated from the office. This also allows me to take different phases or cost codes and build out employee schedules so that I can see what they're supposed to be working on for that day. Now, as we're transitioning over into the field employees look and feel, we'll be taking a look at a few different options and how they can track, enter, and schedule time. But for now, this is a great way for your employees to view what's going on out in the field and also consider scheduling out work for my projects and jobs. As we transition over to the field employees, quote unquote, persona or role, we can jump over to our jobs. And you can see I simply opened up a brand new tab. So I can have multiple tabs open with different options and easily maneuver back and forth between the options. Since this is integrated live directly back to my 100 contractor, this job list is my current open job list directly from 100 contractor, opening up my trap and motel to give me an idea of what options I have for my project or job. These options will tie directly back to your associated options back in 100 contractor. So my POs are tying back to my 6 project management, same thing with my daily field reports, change orders, RFIs, all of these options. So as I'm writing this from SFO, it's tying back and writing directly back to 100 contractor and vice versa. That way now, like I said, your field employee is constantly linked with your office, and your office is in constant link with your field employees. Now, as we take a look at possibly the individual's view or the employee out in the field, they'll mainly be operating from their assignments page. This can be thought of as their weekly or daily schedule overtaking that paper timesheet that they may have right now. You can easily see from this view, I can see different days as well as collapsed days. So I can quickly see what's going on for today or the week. I can also toggle the day week, so it just shows me today's actions, which I don't have any yet, as well as the color key for those priorities that I mentioned earlier, signifying what is red is emergency, urgent is orange, and you can modify these when you get set up and implemented. But for today, I can quickly maybe assign a general requirements to myself for today. And once that schedule is updated, once this page refreshes, that assignment is then immediately available for me to do some actions towards. This also means that from the field, I can immediately see updates to my schedule if there's changes back in the office. So in drilling to this time activity, I'll be able to see a lot of those options from my job. Now, we did kind of touch upon what this looks like from a mobile device. Emulating that momentarily from an iPad, you'll see it looks similar to how I was accessing it from a computer. Since it has much more screen real estate to work with, I can easily maneuver around within the system, much like how I would from a computer, scrolling up and down with my finger, tapping different options to collapse different days, all that good stuff. Now, in accessing it from a phone, it changes items into more button-oriented. Same options and information, just in a much more button-oriented view. So I can easily toggle in between options, selecting here and there with what I need for the day. Now, since we're assuming more of a field operations role, I'll switch back to the iPad, as most of the time customers who are currently using Sage Field Operations operate from a bigger tablet or iPad. Now, as I drill into this job labor and job assignment, it'll look similar to when I was looking at the job directly from my job search. Same options over here on the left. And also keep in mind that if there's options that you don't want your employees to have, let's say we don't like John issuing purchase orders because last year he wasn't really good at it and didn't keep track of his stuff. Everything in here can be security permitted, and you can dial back or increase permissions on an as-need basis. Here over on my right-hand side, you can see my different punch actions that I mentioned. Depending upon what you want to track, I can track travel time, updating my buttons, and you'll see I have now options to end my travel time or start my work. Jumping back momentarily to my scheduler, once my scheduler is updated, you'll see my color codings change as well. Calling back to what I mentioned and keeping track of my field employees directly from my scheduler without having to bother them and without them having to bother you. This also gives you great visibility in terms of keeping track of individuals at the end of the day. So basically at the end of the day or week, all the items should show gray as completed. If there isn't any, that gives you an indication that either the superintendent or individual forgot to clock out of their time and forgot, or habitually has been not been keeping up with all the information on their time entry. Jumping back to my job assignment, I can quickly say either travel end or work start, tapping my play button from my iPad and saying Ko'ohu is now starting work. You'll also see some new punch actions have now shown up, indicating tracking of breaks, lunches, suspended time, or completing the actual job assignment. Breaks and lunches are pretty self-explanatory. Suspended is one of those statuses that you as a company can determine how you want to use it. You could suspend work to come back to later tomorrow, creating a new job assignment for the next day, or possibly for a doctor's appointment. Who's got to go to the dentist and come back to the job, things like that, and you dictate how that works for your company. From my notes, I can indicate any job-specific notes, but ideally you want to be accumulating all this information from the field in regards to your project. So purchase orders. My list of purchase orders here are the same list of POs I would see back in 100 Contractor. This means POs can be absolutely taken within the office and then immediately available for my field employees to be pulled up, assigned, updated directly from the field. Here I can add in a brand new purchase order. Searching my current vendors, let's say Bennett Drill, bought a drill. Now, when I hit create PO here, it's creating that exact record back in 100 Contractor immediately using the next sequential number and line. And now from my PO, I'm able to add items and parts. Say drill. It's bought a hammer drill for some work I did today, and I can assign a cost code if needed, quantities, 1, and creating that item for that purchase order. Now, on top of that, let's say for this purchase order, I also want to track a receipt and the item that I bought. Jumping back to my images here, I can take a snapshot of the drill directly from my phone. Drill I bought. And adding that to my purchase order. So now I'm held accountable in terms of not only the PO being created, taking a picture of what I bought, and also perhaps maybe even the receipt. Quickly and easily putting in that receipt for my drill. Now, once I've added those attachments, I can also directly from my tablet or iPad sign off on the purchase order. This is the default purchase order view where I can easily manipulate or change this as needed specific to my company. But here it's got all of the information from the purchase order. And I can come on down to the very end where it looks like it's asking for a client signature, as well as a contractor signature. Once everything's been captured, I also have the option of sending it back to the office per email, along with any attachments as well. So now for this purchase order, I've attached a picture of what I bought, the receipt, and the signed off PO in PDF format, all available back in the office and all done from the field. Jumping back to my job, I can go through some of my additional features as well in terms of my daily field reports. It's going to give me all of my prior daily field reports, even prior to me using SFO, so I can pull those up easily and efficiently, as well as generating a brand new field report generated by me, pulling in today's date. Temperature, all pulled from the address of the job itself and generating that DFR. Now from my DFR, I can quickly pull in all the information I'm normally using for my DFR, as well as job assignments. There it's got some of my punch actions right now. And given that I'm designated as the supervisor for other employees, I can punch them in and out of their actions so you can have a one-to-many relationship with employees out in the field. Here I can also, for my daily field report, add in flat time. So say, for instance, I don't want to use punch actions. I just want to track X amount of hours for certain employees. Here I can highlight multiple employees, specifying a cost code and pay type for them, pay group if applicable, and finally, any additional time. Here we can also add notes to assignments, and a great use of this is using talk to text. So any notes or description fields from within Sage Field Operations, you can tap on your microphone from the device and speak the notes directly into the phone. Saving that coded time, I could then move on to any subcontractors who may have come out to help on the job. Pulling in here, Peterson Construction came out for some work. They got here at 8:21, left at 11:21. Employee count of 5. Stop by to help. And accumulating all of that information as a superintendent or foreman, also along with any type of incidences. So injury, who fell, at 8:22. He got back up. He's okay. Now, along with my daily field report, tracking any types of safety meetings. Safety 101. So, and I can put who attended. Kohu, Jim, Pam, Dwight. Another great example of when I could talk to text those individuals into my report. Adding any kind of equipment that I've used on the job itself. Maybe a straddle lift used. All tying back to my costs within equipment. Operated for 3, standby 1, idle 1. If I'm wanting to track any type of production units, I can do here as well. And much like my purchase order, on my daily field report, I can add attachments as well in regards to job photos, before and after photos. Same thing with change orders and my RFIs. Now, once I've accumulated a lot of that information, I can easily generate my daily field report PDF directly from my tablet. Tapping on reports and create daily report, it's going to accumulate all of that information from the day, showing all of those hours punched in and punched out, flat time as well, subcontractor who came out, the incident, the meeting, the equipment when used, and also reinforcing any type of signatures that I want on this specific daily field report, and saving that as a PDF copy to the daily field report as well as the job. And as we move back to my job here, job 201 for Trap and Motel, you'll see I can also enter in RFPs, change orders, not only entering, but also viewing prior change orders and their statuses, open, approved, pending, RFIs, current ones in terms of what's currently in the system, as well as adding new ones. And under my attachments at the job level will be accumulation of all the other types of attachments, whether it's daily field report, change order, purchase order, all accumulating at the very top within my job 201. Now, with a lot of this information, we're now efficiently accumulating everything from the field back to the office quicker, allowing you to get away from using paper and also keeping your office in tune with your field and vice versa. Now, in doing that, we want to make sure we call back to all the information that's currently in 100 Contractor and showing where all of this is pulling in to streamline your processes. So when I jump over to my 100 Contractor, back on my server is my 100 Contractor. So all the options that we took a look at today with our Sage Field operations in terms of purchase orders, daily field reports, change orders, time, all that project related information is now tying back to my 6 project management, where I can see all my 641 change orders, or even my 661 purchase order that I set up for that drill. Jumping to today, there's that order 494 for that drill with all that information. And also up here in the top right for my attachments, the picture of what I bought, the receipt, and the actual signed off PO immediately available back in the office. Also keep in mind this works vice versa. So say you take purchase orders in the office instead. You can enter and update all this information and attach it directly from 100 Contractor, and then out in the field, that superintendent or foreman can pull up this PO and see all of the attached information that you've entered from the office. Now, in terms of my daily field report under my 6116, I'm able to pull that up and see all of that flat time that was entered, as well as the subcontractor came out, Peterson Construction, the equipment that was used, any units if I'm using unit production, as well as down here, my incidences of when I fell down but I got back up, my safety meeting and who attended, as well as my attachments, that site picture that I took, as well as that PDF and signed off copy for my daily field report. Now, although I've been focusing a lot around the project, what comes down to it as well with running a project is the payroll. When using Sage Field Operations, you're able to streamline the time capturing directly from the field back into the office. All this is writing directly back to my 551 and 100 contractor. If I take a look at today in terms of all the information as well as days back, I'm able to see all of that information that's being accumulated out in the field. So it's capturing not only the time, the job, the phases, and the cost codes, it's then compiling all that information within 100 contractor and then using your payroll hierarchy to pull in rates, comp codes, departments, all that once it's captured out in the field, it's captured once, and then as it's getting pushed throughout your company, it's only verified. Therefore, you don't have any type of double entry or manual processes when capturing time from the field to your 100 contractor.